And we are live with another episode of Comic Talk. It's that show brought to you by The Keeg, where we talk about this week's new comic book releases. Whether they're DC, Marvel, or indie, we are here to talk about everything that came out this week, or at least everything that we read that came out this week. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera. And if you're watching us live, you're watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. If you don't see the guests in front of you, because maybe you're listening to the podcast, you won't, know who the guests are, so let me introduce them. First, returning back to the show after a long sabbatical, as one does, we got Maggie, aka Vegan Super Kick. Maggie, welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, did you think I wasn't gonna have you back? Like it was too much time has passed.
I thought you were over it. You forgot about me.
Yeah, I mean, out of sight, out of mind,
Right.
It used to be that way. Truth be told, it used to be that way, like, people who were in other states, I was just like, well, you're in other states. This was, like, pre-COVID, right? It was like, you're not in my immediate area. It's really hard to keep track of people. But then COVID happened, and if it wasn't for COVID, I don't think I would have met you guys, So...
Thanks, COVID.
You got one thing right, which is, I guess, expanding the reach of people, whether it's through TikTok or podcasting or streaming or whatnot. So, Maggie, I'm glad to have you back. It's been a couple months. I'm excited to hear what you read this week, so we'll go over that in a little bit. We also got a longtime guest and frequent guest. We got Drew Maxey, aka Drew Deficit, at Drew X Deficit. The X is silent, like the H in Dimithri.
Like I'm the kind of person that I won't let you forget me. That's what's going on here.
Good. Don't let me forget you.
I much like COVID. I seep into you, and I hang on, and you never get rid of me.
Oh, it's Long Drew.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I got a case of Long Drew. I thought it was just a short-term thing. I was trying not to pass Drew on to my parents.
Nope.
But I got him. Drew, how's it going?
Emotions may run high, but there's not too much unpleasantness.
That's good. About comics or just in general?
Yeah, just in general.
Yeah.
I mean, you give me enough time, I'll think of something to complain about.
I mean,
right now.
I mean, that's true. And we got to use that sparingly, There was this week a good week or a bad week? Just like generally speaking for comics.
I feel like it was a pretty good week. I don't know.
There was like a good amount of stuff. It wasn't like a crazy week, right?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't have as big of a poll as I usually do, and so.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I read good stuff, but I think the big ones weren't around this week, and I'm trying to figure out like why that is. I know that Marvel, because of X-Men and the Krakoan Age, winding down, they only have like 3 X-Men titles a month for the last couple months of, there's not too many X-Men titles. Not 3, like 5 X-Men titles a month. I don't know. They've severely reduced their X-Men titles.
You have free time on your hands now, is what I'm hearing.
I have been like reading stuff that I wouldn't normally read, or just free time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find this other thing. What did you guys read this week?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Because I don't think my list is never as big as everyone else's. I don't know why. But I read Grimm 16 from Boom Studios, Stephanie Phillips. Birds of Prey, number 8.
Uh-huh.
Sensational She-Hulk, number 7.
Okay.
And Deadpool, number 1.
Okay. That's a good solid, not only is it like, again, we shouldn't, like, we all read way more than the normal person reading comics.
For sure.
Or just in general, more than the average person. But you also just like read some really good ones. Like I feel.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not, it's really hard for me to go to the comic shop every single week now. So like I also picked up, like 3 or 4 other things that are not from this week
Right.
I picked up Feral #1
Okay.
and I can't even remember what Animal Pound #2, things that I just needed to catch up on. So
Right.
too crazy with the new stuff, but
You don't go to the comic shop every week? Well, yeah, you don't. Do you guys have
no,
like cuz your store, do you guys have comics?
no, we don't do new comics.
Okay.
If I did, then my list would be like super crazy long.
Right.
But where we had really crappy weather where I live this week, I was afraid to get on the interstate because it was windy.
Right.
So I went to a different shop that doesn't have my pull. Otherwise, I would have got Poison Ivy 21, which that will be at my shop, and I'll read that, later. But
I mean, I think out of all of us, and I don't want to speak for him, but maybe one of us read Poison Ivy this week.
I hope so. I want to
Yeah,
talk about it.
I was the one. That was me.
Did you read? Are you anyways reading it, Drew, or
I
did you
love
just read it because you knew Maggie wasn't going to read it?
I read it because it is consistently one of my favorite books each month.
Okay.
Same. Yes, it's so good.
I love Poison Ivy, but I think I dropped off like 7 issues ago.
Okay.
So I mean,
It's good now. It's really good now.
okay. Drew, what was your list for this week?
I said earlier like, oh, my list wasn't as big as it usually is, and then I like read way fewer things than I usually do. So I read Poison Ivy 21.
Okay.
I read Batman 146.
Okay.
I read The One Hand #3 from Image.
Mm-hmm.
I read The Principles of Necromancy #1.
Okay.
From Magma Comics.
I've never heard of Magma.
It's a new publisher. I think this might be their first ever book.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
And I picked it up because it's by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly.
Yeah.
And all the stuff they've done. So
I went to Emerald City Comic Con a couple weeks ago, and they were there, and so I think I went to 2 panels that they were in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, this is one I picked up, but I didn't read it today. I read it many years ago. DC through Black Label released a remaster of Sandman #19. Which is really just like they updated the coloring, and there's a whole thing in the back about like the colorist explaining how he did the new coloring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Sandman fan, so I picked that up as well. I will reread it again. I always do like I'm gonna do a big Sandman reread, but yeah, it's a great issue, so I figured I would get that copy as well.
Yeah. I'll go through my list, but I wanted to shout out Modern Merlin out there in the chat saying have a good stream, everybody. So thank you to Modern Merlin. If you're out there on the Twitch chat or you're on the YouTube chat, the Twitch chat's what we draw in for this stream mostly. But let us know you're out there if you are out there watching. What did I read this week? I just prepped all the images right now. So as we talk about these, I'll be able to put these up on the stream. But I read Deadpool #1. I read Birds of Prey 8. I read She-Hulk 7. Batman 146. Shazam 10. Superman 78, The Metal Curtain #6. Avengers 12. Captain America 8. Doctor Strange 14. X-Men 33, Spider-Man Shadow of the Goblin 1. I brushed through Mighty Morphin Power Rangers versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Power Rangers 2 #1. And then I didn't prep an image for it, but Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries. I just wanted to see what it was about. I read that one, kind of. Anyway, I was able to read more comics this week.
You read so many comics this week.
Because there wasn't X-Men. There was one X-Men title.
He had time. That's I should have known.
Everything's winding down, and like I've talked about it on previous podcasts and like other shows that we're doing, but I'm gonna be sad to see it leave. You know, the Krakoan Age.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm really excited for the new stuff that's going to be coming out this summer.
Yeah,
I know. You're probably talk this to death.
What'd you say?
You're not. You're not?
What? I'm not ecstatic. I'm excited to see what they do, but I don't know for certain whether it's going to be good or bad. So I can't say that it's going to be bad, but I also can't say it's going to be good. Other than I trust some of the writers. Like Gail Simone is writing Uncanny, I think, and like Eve Ewing is writing one. So like cool. But at the same time, I don't know for certain.
Fair.
You know? I don't know how they're gonna wrap this whole thing up, and I don't know what's gonna continue. Because they have to have like, I'm sure, like they can't, like, it's not a hard reboot or a hard restart kind of situation. So I'm sure there's going to be some threads that may or may not continue.
I don't know. I'm excited as a person who historically has always been terrified to read whatever's going on with the X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
I know what's going on. So, like, it'll be nice to have, like, a surefire start here. You know what I mean? So
I'm excited for you, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Because I was talking about on a previous like show that at this point I'm not referring people to pick up the Krakoan Age. Like, you know, it's winding down, and like if people are asking me like where should they start, like I think I'm just gonna start prepping people for this next era. And I think that might be best. Start on the ground floor and like work your way up, you know?
Yeah.
So does that mean you're going to be reading it and then you're going to come on Comic Talk and talk X-Men now?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
Excited. Be excited. You're going to see more of me this summer.
All right. I'm excited for that. Drew, are you excited for new X-Men stuff?
I mean, I might give it a shot. I've just never been like, I don't know why. I'm more interested in like a solo series than I am a team book for the most part.
I'm the exact opposite.
I know we talked about this many times.
Yeah.
Like if you give me like, oh, we're gonna do a book about Cyclops, and also it's written by Greg Rucka, which is a thing that happened. I was like, I'll read that book.
Yeah.
You know, and like you know, you give me like a Storm solo book, I'd be more inclined to read that than I would
I mean, you are getting
a team. Yeah, and I mean those things do exist, but I just because it's kind of like a Ouroboros kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
I don't really have a lot of connection with those characters because I don't really read X-Men, but I don't read X-Men because I don't really have a connection with those characters either. So
yeah.
You know, it's for me it's going to be about creative teams. And if I'm being honest, I haven't really been paying attention. I know that Gail Simone is writing a book. I don't know which one. You said Uncanny, so that makes sense.
I think it's Uncanny.
That it probably,
I think.
So I mean, yeah, it's just about creative teams for me.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I'm looking it up right now again to just kind of get a better sense. Gail Simone and is writing Uncanny X-Men with David Marquez doing the art. Jed McKay is doing X-Men with Ryan Stegman on art, and then Exceptional.
That's a book that I would check out. Yeah.
Oh, are you a big Jed McKay fan?
I've been rereading. I should say rereading. I've been reading through Moon Knight,
Yeah.
and it's awesome. I picked up every issue as it was coming out, and I've read issue 1 and 2, and then just like stopped. And so I've been like catching up with those lately, and it's been really good. I don't know why I didn't keep up with it.
Yeah. So if it's about creative teams, Eve L. Ewing is doing Exceptional X-Men with Carmen Carnero on art. And then those are the 3 books, and they're going to be released a month apart from each other. So, like, first is Uncanny X-Men in August, then Exceptional X-Men in September. Oh, and then, sorry, before that is regular X-Men in July. So it's going to be 1 X-Men title, but then that next month there'll be 2 because the other one will be on issue 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're like staggering it is what I mean. And like, this actually might be a really good, I was originally hating this idea, but now that I think of it, it might ease people into going to the comic shop and like paying a little bit more money. Like instead of like 3 books on the first month, it's like 1 book on the first month, 2 books on the second month, 3 books on the third month. And then you're already in it. You're like, you just keep that going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited for the idea of new fans, kind of like with the X-Men 97 show, in reintroducing people to X-Men. So I'm all for new fans. I'm just sad to see what's going on, leave and end. X-Men aside, what were your guys' picks of the week? Let's talk about it. Let's get into it.
I gotta look at them again.
To like reacquaint yourself with it?
I mean, yeah, like I just want to make sure I don't hurt anybody's feelings. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have a pick of the week, but it's I think it's going to be unsatisfying for people.
What is it?
It's that Sandman reprint. It's not new.
Yeah.
It's not new. And I'm like not even really a guy who cares about reprints very much, but this is like, I don't know if I don't know if either of you have read Sandman before, or if you know this issue in particular. This issue is really important to like the history of comics. And it's kind of the history of literature as well. So to explain the issue, like what happens in it, to kind of summarize it, you got to kind of go back to earlier in the Sandman series when centuries ago, the main character Morpheus is sitting in a bar having a conversation with a friend, and he overhears a guy in the back like basically saying, I wish I knew how to write really good stories, but I just don't have it. I don't have what it takes. And then Morpheus, the king of dreams, who, and telling stories falls under his jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Kind of goes over this guy, and he's just like, hey, man, I tell you what, I'm going to give you the inspiration to be maybe the greatest storyteller ever. And all you have to do is write me 3 stories. That's it. That's the exchange. And he goes, the guy like kind of agrees, and he's just like, okay, what's your name? And the guy says, William Shakespeare. And so this issue is all about the first story that he has to write for him, which is A Midsummer Night's Dream. And so Midsummer Night's Dream, if you're familiar with it, is a story about all these it's like a play about all these mythological creatures.
Yeah.
And so Morpheus meets up with Shakespeare and his like acting troupe and kind of says, hey, that story you're supposed to write for me? I heard you finished it. Why don't you perform it for me right now? And then he opens a door, and through this doorway comes all of the figures who like this play is now watch this play about them. And It's really good. It sets a really, really fun tone early on in the series. I mean, this is like it's like the 19th issue, so it's kind of in it, but it's still pretty early. But why it's important is because this comic won the sorry, not the Bram Stoker Award. It won the World Fantasy Award for Best Short Story.
Okay.
And so many people on like in literary circles were so angry that a comic book won a literary award that they changed the rules so that no comic can ever win it again. So this will forever be the only comic that has ever won that award.
Uh-huh.
And it's cool because I think it's cool because it's just like a testament to like the literary power of comics and like what you can do with them, how good Sandman is, but also kind of serves as this interesting benchmark to the ignorance of comics as literary or like on the same level as like prose literature.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, it's a good story. It's a nice little like one and done. You don't really need to know much about the Sandman series to read it. But I promise you that if you read it, you will enjoy it so much that you'll want to read the rest of the series immediately.
So this one was just re-released. It was like remastered and re-released, and you just wanted to pick this one up?
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to see the new coloring. I wanted to hear like I wanted to read in the back the process by which they, the new coloring happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just this cool little part of comics history that you give me an excuse to talk about Sandman, I'll do it.
I haven't dived into Sandman that much. I've read a little bit, but like enough that like I like Sandman, but I don't. There's only so much Sandman I can read when I binge. So like I've gone on a couple binges of Sandman, but like I always stop at a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I feel like it can be the only thing I'm reading. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like this just my little relationship with Sandman if I'm gonna read it.
Yeah.
So
I have a lot of stuff I have to binge, truth be told. Like I want to restart my X-Men binge from the beginning. And so but I don't know. I don't know if I want to. There's a lot I could binge. All right. So I feel yeah, it is kind of funny that like Drew's pick of the week is like a remastered comic from the past, but like it counts and I respect it.
yeah.
I just want people to read Sandman. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Maggie, what was your pick of the week?
Man, I'm gonna say this after Drew just gave this like incredibly heartfelt, like introspective monologue on Sandman, but
Mhm.
I feel like this whole time I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, Birds of Prey #8 was pretty sick because Big Barda fought those mind controlled dudes with no clothes on.
Yeah.
Like it was just funny. I was like just actively laughing while I was reading that, and it's just like far more immature than what Drew's like. Big Barda getting in a fight naked was pretty cool. That's probably the best part of my week. So
Yeah.
yeah, Prey #8.
I'm behind on that book, and it's a bummer because I really liked the first couple issues, but I
Yeah.
very much support naked Big Barda fighting.
So issue 7 started a different storyline because I was behind a little bit too, and I saw that a new arc started with the previous issue, and I just grabbed them both.
Yeah.
So you can get caught up, but it was very much a good time.
I read this issue, and it's funny because this run of Birds of Prey, right? Like they're on issue 8 right now. It took me months for me to start issue number 1. Because I had
Really?
opened up to the first couple pages, and I was like, I'm just not digging the art. It just seems flat to me. But then when I really, like, everybody kept talking about it. Like, I think 3 issues had passed before I was like, finally, okay, I guess I'll read issue 1. he took a lot. But once that ball got rolling, I was like, I can't stop the train. To the point where there's an issue, like issue 5, I think, where they change the artist. And I'm like, no, go back. This is not good.
Oh, what is? I follow this person on Instagram.
And by the way, when I say the
I can't
art is
remember.
not good, it does not mean that the artist is not good at art, but rather, you know, the vibes we're going for. I really
gotcha.
like
See,
who. What's up?
yeah, I like the art.
Yeah,
I like the art.
I do too. But I'm saying
Yeah.
there was one issue, right? Like it was like issue 5 or something where they're fighting in the forest. It was like a big
I can't-
forest fight, and I was like,
There was a few. There was a few that I had missed too, because I wasn't sure if I wanted it on my pull list, and I went behind and I picked up 7, and I was like, "You got to put this on." So
yeah.
it must have been one that I had missed.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
So like issues 1 through 6, I think, have the main story. Then issue 7 is kind of a transitional epilogue. And then 8 is when they officially, quote unquote, like change up the team. Cause like the original, the team in the first couple issues is like Harley Quinn, Zealot, Batgirl, Oracle, you know, Black Canary, that sort of thing. And then in this, and Big Barda. And in this, like, there's no Harley Quinn, no Zealot, but they put in Vixen. Oh, they put in Vixen, they put in Sin, and then they have I don't know what she goes by, but the future version of Maps. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Ooh, you just cut out. Hang on.
Okay. Yeah.
There.
My internet
Okay,
connection,
that's better.
my internet connection's doing something weird right now, but
Love that.
what'd you say?
I said love that.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, this book is really good.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like what my pick of the week is, because like, yeah, sure, like X-Men 33 is always like X-Men's always good, and I tend to pick X titles for my picks of the week, but I think I might pick She-Hulk number 7.
Also a very good issue.
Yeah, the art is really good, and also the thing about this title is it makes me care and want to learn about Jack of Hearts, which I wouldn't care about, but Jack of Hearts is cool. And then this new character, what's her name?
It starts with a G. Hang on.
Yeah. I forget what.
This is why I keep them with me. Please hold.
It's
Okay.
G-Hulk.
Yeah,
No.
G-Hulk.
That's her name.
It's she has a staff or a spear or whatever, I think.
Ganymede.
Ganymede. Yes.
Ganymede.
Um
Am I saying that right?
I mean
That's the name of the biggest moon in our.
Oh.
Now you know.
okay. You cut off your mic like a split second before you were done talking, just so you know, Drew.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
I mute the mic a lot because I make a lot of noises. So
That's fair.
I don't want you to be talking and me just being like.
All right. Ganymede, I don't know anything about Ganymede, but like this issue I feel like simplified everything. They were just like, she's like a space nun. She took a vow. Her and Jack of Hearts were close, but she couldn't have sex with him. But now her like vow has been figured out, so now she could. But he's in a relationship with She-Hulk, and so what's going on here? It was just a really good issue.
Drama of it all.
There was a lot of
Yeah,
drama.
when
There was
I
a lot of drama.
Yes, when I saw, I don't remember if it was this issue or the last one where she was like, she like looked and like recognized him, and he was like staring at her. I was just like, no, literally, my mouth was open. I was like, you better not.
Yeah. I mean,
She's coming for She-Hulk. I never thought I was going to care about Jack of Hearts. I didn't think he was going to stick around this long.
yeah. It weirdly
Now I
enough,
want him to stay.
yeah. Weirdly enough, it makes me want to make a Jack of Hearts cosplay but I care nothing about Jack of Hearts. But in this,
Yeah. The drama.
yeah. Part of me wants, maybe I'll do it like a Jack of Hearts cosplay and just go around trying to find She-Hulk cosplayers.
That's a good idea.
You know? Like, okay. You know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think She-Hulk 7 might be my pick of the week. There are some other really good comics this week, but I think She-Hulk 7 is probably my pick of the week. If not Birds of Prey 8, She-Hulk 7.
They were both equally fun and like just nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
They both had like an element of drama to them that like made me, you know, want to read more. Let's get Poison Ivy out of the way because I know Drew read it and I'm behind on it and Maggie didn't read it. But Drew, I want to know your opinions about Poison Ivy.
So okay, this is like the third in like it's the conclusion of a 3-issue arc that's been kind of like just kind of retelling Poison Ivy's origin. So it's like including her working for Dr. Jason Woodrue, you know, like kind of getting in a way like seduced by him into becoming a part of this experiment. One of the things that I really liked about it, this issue in particular, is that if you've ever read the Swamp Thing title, like specifically like Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, it introduces the idea that there's like this thing called the Green, which is like the Green is like the spirit of all plant life in the entire universe, and Swamp Thing is like the protector of it, but it makes so much sense for Poison Ivy to have a connection to it as well. And so like in the past, they kind of started making Poison Ivy, you know, kind of have this connection to the Green.
Yeah.
And this kind of, you know, reestablishes it like right at the beginning without actually being very explicit in like, oh, you are now a protector of the Green. It's just kind of like, it lets the art really kind of tell the story about, to tell the story and like really just tell the readers that like, she didn't know that she was part of this big cosmic thing, you know, she just knew that she was part of something bigger.
Yeah.
I really like, so like this issue in particular is like, okay, the experiment's been done. She's been in Arkham Asylum. Like, she comes to Gotham. There's like this calling. She doesn't understand like what this voice is, but she eventually like decides that it's the spirit of the earth, essentially, like calling out to her and saying, like, come find me, come save me. And it draws her to Gotham in particular because like she sees Gotham as this horrible blight on the environment.
Right.
And so that's why she came there. There, you know, she goes to Arkham Asylum. There's a really good section where she encounters Batman for the first time. They have a conversation where there's a little bit of like unreliable narration happening because like she's telling Batman, you know, like, I don't know, if you want to protect this city, you got to protect the environment around it that in which the city exists, and you're not doing enough of that. And he's just like, maybe you're right. Hey, wait a second, using your powers. And she's just like, no, I'm not. You just don't want to admit that you think I'm right, you know. And so like, as a reader, there's like a question of, was she using her powers on him?
Yeah.
Or is Batman just kind of like a little bit paranoid? You know, like both things are possible. Yeah, it was cool. I liked the characterization throughout it. I really liked the bit about it's just when you're writing a villain, you just get to get away with a little bit more because like you can really explore, you know, like, oh, I think humanity sucks and it's destroying the environment. If we just got rid of humans, maybe the planet would have a chance, which is a very nihilistic if you're a hero. But if you're writing from a villain's perspective, like, you get to, kind of air that frustration. So I really liked the bit with them and talks about how terrible it is. I think it was a great justification for like how she ever got to Gotham in the first place, which I don't know if that's ever been established or not. She was probably just one of those characters who was just there. Yeah, it's a good issue. I like it. And because it is like the end of this little mini arc, the next issue is going to kind of like continue the story. So it's probably a good place for people to pick up and start reading it.
Yeah. I've liked this series a lot. I need to hop back on.
I do too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you guys have an example of because villain series, I don't want to say villain series are all the rage right now, but like a good amount of villains are getting their own stories right now, including like a book that I'm not reading is Kneel Before Zod. Like, I read the first issue and I just wasn't interested in it. But like, do you guys have a villain series that like stands out that, okay, so like this one's good, but are there villain series that aren't good?
Oh, for sure there are. I nothing off the top of my head really stands out.
Yeah.
I would be able to talk more about like ones that were good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing really comes to my mind either.
Because like what I get afraid of is like when they just essentially will take a villain, give them a solo series, and suddenly they're a hero. But then there's Poison Ivy, who like it's done really well where she's not a hero.
Poison Ivy is not a hero in her story. She knows that she's not a hero, even though she recognizes that there is something noble about her pursuits, but like she's not interested in being heroic. Which is actually it's interesting to bring that up because in this issue, she, in her early days, like she sees what she's doing as heroic. And that's why she tries to like reason with Batman. But it's very clear that she gave that up after a while.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want examples of the opposite heroes, like, or villain stories that are good, I mean, I got you covered. Gail Simone's Secret Six is one of my favorites.
Oh, for sure.
I've been rereading that recently, actually, and it's so good. And it's like crazy how much of a dark comedy that book is. When I compare it to like what's going on in comics now, there's a lot of stuff in there that, like, content wise, it's like, oh, I don't think they would put that in a modern superhero comic like anymore. Yeah, not like language and content stuff. It's pretty wild what felt more acceptable 15 years ago,
Yeah.
Like, I was a big fan of a lot of the One Bad Day books that came out, those Batman one shots.
Yeah.
I think the Catwoman one was great, which G. Willow Wilson, same writer as Poison Ivy. And she got to do a lot of that with like a lot of those more radical social ideas with Catwoman.
Yeah.
The Clayface one I thought was the standout of those. That one was so good. Which is, a character who's kind of as low key as Clayface, but
yeah,
in an era where people find a lot of the villains more interesting, which probably says stuff about us as a society. But as long as the stories are good, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Maggie, do you have many examples of villain series?
Well, I definitely agree. I loved almost all the One Bad Days. I really liked Bane's too. His was really good.
I forget what happened, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think of something else. I really can't think of ones that I haven't liked.
Yeah.
I agree with Drew. I think that we are kind of living in a time where I don't really think calling villains relatable is what I would say, but like you want to understand why people are the way that they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that the Loki Agent of Asgard was really good too.
Mm.
Really introspective on the character, and it made me kind of understand and like him a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't think of any that I haven't liked.
Yeah. I I think like Marvel's like Carnage series, they're never really interesting to me, but I'm also not interested in Carnage. So maybe that's just a me thing and a Carnage thing.
Yeah.
Something that like Carnage and I have to sort out. But like I'm trying. I'm not a big fan of Kneel Before Zod. I'm not really a big fan of that one. Sinister Sons is okay, but I'm waiting for it to get better. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting when villains get their own series. Like, what stories are we telling? I think it takes a certain level of like media literacy to read about them and not like know that they're not to be emulated, but to like almost learn things from their mistakes. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I think DC in general just does a really good job at exploring their villains. I don't know.
I think it's because
They're
DC
just easier.
like when DC like sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What were you saying?
No, go ahead. No, you're good.
I
Go
think
ahead.
it's just because DC, at least right now, they're exploring their villains because they have such a strong hold on their heroes right now. Versus
Yeah.
like I don't know, a villain series when New 52 happened has a different kick to it because like New 52 was mismanaging the heroes so that like okay, when Deathstroke got his own title during New 52, it was like okay, so you're telling me just Deathstroke is a hero. Like,
Right.
you know, because everybody was just kind of that vibe. So, but now because they're really leaning into the hope and legacy part, which I think is like literally the blood of DC is hope and legacy. Like even though different titles are different genres and different have different tones and whatever, like the DC universe itself runs on hope and legacy, whereas like you can make a villain title where it's like, yeah, it's not hopeful. Doesn't have to be. Like the other titles are hopeful, you know? Maggie, you read Deadpool #1, and I'm very curious about this one. I read this one, but I also read the previous run. Did you read the previous run?
No. I just snatched it up.
The previous if you like this run, the previous run's really good too. And I think you would like the previous run. And it talks about Deadpool's breakup with their ex, right?
Yeah.
The X is from the previous run.
I figured.
Yeah.
I figured it didn't like really matter, but that's good to know that it just hops right off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was like the first time I've read a Deadpool book, I think. Like current ongoing self. So
who's the writer?
I don't know.
Is it Cody Ziegler?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
He's writing Miles Morales right now.
Right. Yeah. And I hear amazing things about that. Not reading it, which I was. Biggest regret. But this was a good time. This was just a fun first issue. We'll see where it goes. What did you think?
I don't have a how do I put this? When it comes to Deadpool solo series, I can pick it up, not like it, and then drop it. Like I'm not attached to the character in any way, shape, or form. I like Deadpool, but I like it when he's written a certain way. So
yeah,
I don't like Deadpool when he's written like frat boy humor. Like, you know, just about like, just, I don't know, just fratty douchey Deadpool isn't my jam. I like him like, okay, if he's a cartoon character, I like that type of humor. And then I like the previous run's humor and then this run's humor. So like, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things like, obviously we're going to see a lot more of him over the next, couple months. So I was like, we'll pick it up and read it.
Yeah.
It was a good time. So I'll keep reading it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also like his dog because I was afraid with the new
Yeah.
run that they would get rid of the dog, the Carnage dog, but they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so because the previous run introduced the Carnage dog. What's his name? Princess, I think. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so like I thought they were gonna get rid of it, but they didn't. And so I'm happy for that.
Yeah, I think that if there was no dog, I probably would have been like, okay, I won't read issue 2. But like I like the relationship of Deadpool and Princess. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna
If you like that, they
get through.
really do a lot with the dog in the previous run. So
Okay.
I just really think you'd like the
I'll
previous
check it
run.
out.
I've been
Who
trying to
wrote
get
it?
people. Alyssa Wong. Alyssa Wong.
Oh,
So
okay. I'm familiar with Lost Boy.
yeah, so Alyssa Wong wrote the previous run and wrote a character that is very similar to Alyssa Wong, like a
Okay.
non-binary Asian character that then dates
Mhm.
Deadpool. So people use that to complain about it, but like it worked. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I like the
Yeah.
previous run.
Like,
Haters are gonna hate.
cool. I'll definitely check it. I'm for sure.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Okay.
Nice.
Drew, you read some indie comics.
I did.
What do you want to talk about?
One, swimming pools.
You want to talk about swimming pools?
Yeah. The water's all cool and cold. You can spin around in it like an egg.
Oh.
Let's talk about the one hand.
Okay.
The one hand, I've talked about it on here before. The one hand and its sister series, the Six Fingers.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that one? Yeah.
It's such a cool idea. I love it so much. But I mean, there's so much happening here. It's a lot of world building as well as like this cool, what the hell is happening kind of mystery. So the story so far is that there's this detective. Years ago, he put away a serial killer, and then somebody else starts committing the same crimes that he did. So he puts that person away. And now 20 years later, just as he's about to retire, the same crime starts happening again. And he's like, did we get the wrong guy? Because the thing about it is that like the murderer kills people in a very interesting way.
Okay.
A very gruesome way. And then he always leaves behind like these patterns on the wall and a bloody handprint, and he has 6 fingers on his hand. And so like, what are the odds, right? And then so this issue is like him going and visiting the person who he put away for those crimes. And he's just like, I don't know why, but I feel like something. And the guy's just kind of like, why am I going to help you? I'm already in prison. You have nothing to threaten me with. You can't hold anything over my head. I'm in jail forever. And so you get to kind of see that, you get to actually see the original killer for this story. We still have no idea if he's actually committing crimes or if he did it, if it's a new guy. But at the same time, like we do kind of know what's going on with the killer because the killer has his own book.
Yeah.
But that's a mystery in itself. So it's just really cool. I mean, and like the setting is kind of like a Blade Runner type, futuristic city. This issue, it also involves like going to talk to a robot, like an android.
Okay.
Super cool. I'm a big fan. I'll tell you what, just this is not necessarily related to this book, but it's something that I want to talk about anyway. So this book is written by Ram V, who one of his most famous books is a book he did at Boom called The Many Deaths. And I just finished that book with my graphic novels class today. Actually, we read the last chapter of it today.
The Many Deaths of Layla
Of Layla Starr, yeah.
Layla Starr, yeah.
Which is an incredible book if you haven't read it.
Yeah.
And like all the kids in my classes were like talking about how much they liked it and how like, you know, philosophical and you know, how beautiful the story is and its message and its themes. And then after that today, two of them liked that book. I was like, hey, do you want to see what else Ram V does? And I just had them start flipping through this book. And they were just like, this is wild. I'm just like, yeah, you know, there's just like people with severed body parts all throughout it.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate the fact that he can do a book like that and then this one, and it doesn't feel like a dip in quality at all. They're equally good despite how different they are.
Yeah.
They're not really comparable because they're so totally different stories and you know, presentations of those stories, but at the same time, like, you probably could pick them apart and find the common threads.
Yeah.
Just because they're written by the same person.
Yeah. He's great. Are you reading Rare Flavors by him right now?
I picked up the first issue of Rare Flavors. I think I picked up the second one too. Is it my understanding that it's been getting delayed?
I think so, but I think it's also only like a 6-issue run. It might be 5. I can't remember. No, because I think I just read issue 5. I can't remember, but
it's possible that my comic shop is just not getting it anymore.
Yeah,
because I haven't seen it on the shelf.
No,
that's the same.
Takes a while.
That's the same team as Layla Starr. So it's like I definitely want to read it all the way through.
It's so good.
Yeah, I've been hyping it up to my students just because like they loved that book so much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great stuff out there.
Yeah.
You know? First time chatter, iCrowns. Welcome iCrowns says no delays. So I guess there's no delays on that title.
Yeah, it must just be my comic shop not picking it up. I also know that I don't have it on my pull list, so it's possible that like it's coming in and then I'm just not seeing it whenever I go in.
It does. I've noticed it is like maybe once a month. I don't know. It's not like super frequent. Probably it is a series, but it's so good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, people don't, you know, always realize that like comics are not a genre, right? Comics are a medium, just like not all books like prose are the same.
That was my very first lesson in my graphic novels class. I was just like, you've probably heard people refer to comics as a genre. You need to throw that out of your brain right now. Like, eliminate it. It is not true. It's a medium for storytelling, not a genre of story.
Yeah.
And yeah, I pretty much hammered that like into them pretty quickly.
Yeah. Let's because of time restraints, let's do some quick overviews of some of the other books that we read this week. So like Maggie read Grimm 16.
I did.
Is it still good at 16? Like, because I feel like
it is.
You've talked about this before, right? You've talked about this book.
I love this run. I love this run so much. I'm this run's biggest fan. But yeah, so we're kind of in the middle of a newer storyline right now. It is. Are either of you reading this?
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay. Well, it is about Jessica Harrow, who is a Grim Reaper. She does not know how she became a Grim Reaper, and she has to go like on this journey of like finding out that her dad is like Big Daddy Grim Reaper. And she is the daughter of him and a human. And she's got these buddies that have been tagging along with her on this little journey, Eddie and Marcel. And the last couple issues have been each of them exploring their own versions of hell. Hell is actually a concept, and it's different for all of us. And so that's kind of what we've been traveling through the last few issues, and it's really good. And this most recent issue is trying to help her in this current kind of battle she's getting ready for. And we get to learn his history and how he became a priest, which I kind of read it also as his own version of hell. He was in Afghanistan in the early 2000s. And so it was a really, really hard story to read, knowing the context of it. But yeah, we've kind of gone through everyone's version of hell in these recent issues, and it's been very good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
This is probably one of those books like you would recommend for people to buy in trade, so you can like read 6 issues at a time or whatever.
100%. This is a great like trade paperback read.
Okay. For sure.
Yeah.
Batman 146.
Stephanie Phillips.
Oh, what's up?
I was just gonna say real quick, Stephanie Phillips started using TikTok relatively recently, and she's like, as somebody who is interested in writing comics, she's been one of the best people to like just be very candid and explain. Like the other day, she broke down how she gets paid, and I thought that was such a great video to do. I don't know how many other people are interested in it, but like it was really cool to hear somebody just talk about that stuff.
Yeah. Remind me later, Stephanie Phillips, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remind me that name later, because yeah, I'd love to check that out. Batman 146, Drew, you and I read it. Are you liking it? Not liking it?
I've been really up and down with I'm not gonna say that I think it was bad, because I never did think that it was bad. I always thought that it was a high quality book. It just wasn't what I wanted from Zdarsky doing Batman.
Yeah.
However, where it's been going the last 2 issues, I think has been really interesting. I think so far has been one of the best. Like the idea that like Batman, it's kind of tying in Failsafe and Zur-En-Arrh into one character that's kind of like robotic Batman, who has convinced everybody else that Bruce Wayne died, and he had this contingency plan to upload his consciousness into this robot. And so, I mean, there's stuff in here about like what is Batman's place in Gotham. It's little, it's subtle, but it's there. There's kind of when you really break it down and think about it, like this really sad kind of like Damian being so devoted to his dad that he doesn't even recognize that kind of like maybe something's wrong. Because he just like wants his dad to be around.
Yeah.
Really cool interaction with Superman. I mean, like, some of the characters are basically saying like, whatever Batman has going on right now, again, they don't know that he's not Batman. But they're recognizing that like his humanity is kind of not where it once was.
Yeah.
Essentially just saying that like if you take the man out of Batman, you just get a high-powered cop. And that's not what he should be.
Right. I like this
a lot.
Yeah.
I thought it was, I'll tell you what I thought was weird. There's not a backup story. Like the thing that would be the backup is at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
The little Joker thing.
Yeah. That was interesting.
But I didn't even notice that that's what was going on until I noticed on the cover that it says like also featuring the Joker Revelations.
Yeah.
And it adds a bit more context. It kind of shows us, it ties what Joker's been up to into like some of the more recent runs before Zdarsky took over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a fan of this issue.
Yeah. I've been up and down with this run too, but like I like this issue, and I've been generally liking this Zdarsky's Batman run. I like Zdarsky a lot, and I think almost what was I expecting for Zdarsky's Batman run was essentially his Daredevil run. So I know that like as a writer, you don't want to just like change the palette, or palette swap or whatever. So like I get it. He's trying like new ideas, experimenting a little bit, and I respect that.
I think that a lot of what he's doing is attempting to make commentary on like the legacy of what Batman is, or like the meaning of Batman. And I think that like for a lot of people just aren't seeing what's the phrase? They're not seeing the forest for the trees. They're just kind of looking at the surface level stuff and not really thinking about what is this at least attempting to do. Whether or not it's effective in that is totally up for everybody to decide. I think that we should really be recognizing that it is trying to say something about what this character means.
Yeah. We gotta touch on a couple more books before we get done with this episode. I'll just touch really quickly on Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 2, number 1. I don't know. I was confused. There was a multiversal angle to this, and honestly, I could do without. So I'm not going to read the second issue of this. But, for people who do like this, great, I also read Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries, and like, it was cute. It was for kids. It was fine. The art actually wasn't that good, but like, it was whatever. X-Men 33, not much happens in it, but like, because not much happens in it, it is like relatively like one story in it. So that's nice instead of like 5 bits and pieces. But I was really surprised about Avengers number 12 because it ties in with Fall of X. And the previous Avengers issues didn't really interest me. Like, I've been reading this new run, but this one actually I thought was really good. Maggie, was there something else that you read that we didn't get to touch on?
I think we covered all of mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Principles of Necromancy. I know that Drew read that one, but Drew, if you want to like just talk about it for like 30 seconds and then we'll.
It's by Jackson and Colin Kelly. They've been doing some stuff at Marvel, a little bit at DC. They wrote that Clayface issue I talked about earlier. I think they're just a really good writing team. So I happened to see their name on it. Their names, I picked it up. It's about the world's first necromancer. I get the feeling that this is going to be in a sort of an anthology because there's a second issue, but the first issue says the end. The end.
Yes.
This issue has to do with Vikings. It's this necromancer is essentially just like going through extreme means to try to help people cheat death for his own personal gain. Not like in the sense like not like he's trying to get anything out of it other than just he wants to be the person to help people do that. It's very gruesome. If you like a creature feature, you probably will like it.
Okay. All right. I mean, because like I don't read that many indie comics, so it is tough to kind of convince me to pick up a new title. But every so often I will.
This one is very indie.
All right. To the point I don't even know Magma Comics.
Magma Comics. I think this might be their first published book.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like the reason why I say that is because at the end there's like this message from the publisher that's just like, hey, welcome to Magma Comics.
Oh, nice. Love to see it, Love to see it. I just noticed the Taylor Swift Eras Tour popcorn bucket in the back. I have the same one. So, you know.
Well,
Uh,
how about
you have two?
I did. I gave one to a friend who missed out. It was sold out at her place. So I was like, I got you, girl.
Yeah.
I got two.
Just wanted to shout that out. Shazam number 10. This run has been really good, but I think this is the first issue that Mark Waid is not the writer on. And like the feeling is a little bit different. It is a good issue, but Mark Waid's not writing it, and Mark Waid is one of the top of tops, right? So it does kind of weigh it down a little bit by not having it, but I'm sure it'll continue being good. Superman 78, The Metal Curtain number 6, finishes off the sequel series to the sequel series, right? Because like this Superman 78 was a 6-issue run that was a sequel of Superman 2, the movie Superman 2. And then this is a sequel to that. And so it was okay. It wasn't that good, I'm going to be honest. Not as good as Batman Echoes, or Batman 89 Echoes is. That one's really good. Batman 89 as a miniseries was really good, and then the sequel to that, Batman 89 Echoes, is really good also. And it tackles like brave new concepts. Superman 78 isn't quite as smart, I think. But that's just my opinion. Something really good for D&D fans is Doctor Strange. So like I think issue 13 and then this issue 14, were the Dungeons and Dragons related ones. Basically, there's like a Dungeons and Dragons book that is possessed, so it takes people into an actual realm and like creates a story for them. And so then Doctor Strange puts together essentially a Dungeons and Dragons party, which is him, Black Cat, Taskmaster, and whatever the Moon Knight guy is, Blood Moon or whatever his name is. What's his Hunter's Moon? Whatever.
Hunter's Moon, that's it. Yeah.
Hunter's Moon. So that's a party of 4, and they go into this like Dungeons and Dragons game. I thought it was really, really fun and really cool. So like that was that. And then I think last but not least that I didn't get to that I read but I didn't get to talk about is Spider-Man Shadow of the Goblin number 1. I was originally not going to read this one. I was not expecting to read this one, but then it said like a secret story that takes place in the early years of Spider-Man that ties in with the goblins before Norman Osborn's Green Goblin. And I'm like, what could it possibly be? And so I read the first issue and like, it's cool enough. I'll continue reading it. I don't want to spoil it, but like, there's like a proto-goblin kind of character. There's another character from the past. There's also another character before Peter Parker meets this person. In continuity, this character exists in this. So it's high school Peter and like other things going on. If that made any sense. Also, I don't know if my internet is spotty, whether you guys heard everything. So, you know.
I heard everything that you said.
Okay, cool.
I was just debating on if I was going to hit you with the mind goblin joke the whole time.
Oh, no. I went through it in my head. And I was like, no. Are you a fan of dragons?
Nope. You're not going to get me.
Maggie, do you know what's going on right now?
No, but I don't want to know. I don't want to play.
Cool.
All right. You have to wake up pretty early in the morning to pull one over on old Drew, okay?
Mm.
And because you're 2 hours behind, you don't wake up that early.
No, that's true. I don't wake up this early. So that's fair. Don't know anyone out there. Carson 442007 out in our chat. What's up to Carson out there? Carson's one of the only people taking advantage of the free option on our Patreon. So like not subscribing, but also subscribing in a way. So shout out to Carson, you know, for being like
Carson.
for being on our Patreon, but also not paying anything, which is fine because, you know, let me know, Carson, what we should be doing on our Patreon, because we don't do much on our Patreon, but, you know, give me some ideas, Carson. Anyway, I think that's everything that we read this week, for the most part, as far as like things that came out this week. I want to thank you, both of you, so much for coming on the show on a Thursday and taking time out of your day to be here. Are you guys in the same time zone?
Yes.
Are we? Yeah.
Central?
Yeah.
Eastern.
Oh, wow, you're from Eastern? Okay, all right.
Yeah. It's my bedtime.
Oh. Really? Okay, yeah. It's I mean, the night's still young for me. It's 6 o'clock over here on the West Coast. So, you know.
10:30. I'm getting in my pajamas and having a glass of wine after this.
Okay. All right. All right. Before we get going, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug? Drew, you wanna go?
You can find me. Every time I say that, I want to start singing that Nelly song.
Which
but
one?
I hate Nelly. It says you can find me in St. Louis rolling on Doug.
Oh, okay.
Which is also, I am in St. Louis. So you find me on the internet everywhere there is a social media besides like Facebook or Truth Social. I don't think I'm allowed there.
Yeah.
Drew X Deficit, you'll find me. I've been not making a lot of TikToks lately. I want to get into that, but I've been, what's the word? Depressed. So I haven't been doing that. However, you want to see me in person, you can do that because I will be part of a panel at C2E this year.
You are going to C2E2. I'm going to C2E2 also.
I don't know the details on which day it is or anything, but C2E2 is April 26th through 28th, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. I'll be there.
So one of those,
I don't remember when.
One of those days, I'll be joining a panel with a friend of mine, Cody Collects, as well as if you know Comic Book Stash on TikTok. Both of those guys making videos. We'll be talking about video games. Because they do like a video game podcast. Yeah, I'll be there talking about the video game that I wrote, I think, Justice League Cosmic Chaos, which came out over a year ago. So
I'm gonna bring my copy for you to sign.
I also have a super secret writing project that I'm working on right now. That I will gladly tell you about when I can, but unfortunately I can't right now. But it's going to be really cool.
Okay, I trust you.
That's it.
All right, let me know. Let us know when you're able to. So, thanks, Drew. Thanks for that. Maggie.
Hey, you're
same questions.
You can also find me on the World Wide Web. TikTok, Threads, Instagram, YouTube at Vegan Superkick. I was actually going to be at C2E2, but I'm having a little family cabin trip that weekend, so you're just missing me.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also follow my store at Toy Vomit on social media. We're gonna be at Heroes Con, I think is our next big show in North Carolina. So that's what we got going on.
All right.
But I'm on the internet every day, so
all right, cool,
that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody out there in our chat. Shout out to Lewis Berry on our YouTube chat saying that they hope to see Liam Neeson as Galactus. They say they're excited for the film. They read some Spidey comics. They want Dylan O'Brien as the Sony Spider-Man. You know, one can hope, but also I don't hope that Sony continues with any more of the movies. So, I mean, that's just me in my opinion.
This is my impression of Liam Neeson as Galactus. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's him just going, I hunger. That's it. That's all it is. That's the best Liam Neeson voice I can do.
Okay,
I should cast you.
Listen to me. You're going to be eaten. Did that come across? Did that come across at all?
That's good.
Okay.
That sounded like Danny DeVito to me.
Oh, maybe it's. Let's just say it's the internet connection. Then, if it did sound like Liam Neeson, it was because of me, and if it wasn't, it was because of the internet connection.
Also, I would see Danny DeVito as Galactus.
Why not? You know?
Just saying.
Yeah. Danny DeVito as Galactus. Yeah, okay. What was I saying? Anyway, that's all we got the time here for. If you were watching us live, you're watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. Or you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. If you're on social media, you can find us on TikTok and Instagram at The Keeg Show. We're also on other social media, of course, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, Twitter, all that stuff. At The Keeg Show/The Keeg Show, wherever you get your social media. We're also on patreon.com/The Keeg Show if you want to give back to The Keeg. And if you want to find a comic shop near you, go to comicshoplocator.com. Find a comic shop near you. Support the local comic shops.
Recording
around
stopped.
You. Other than that, recording stopped. Cool. Wonderful.
Stopped through.
Recording in progress.
I guess I'm putting it back on. Anyway, that is pretty much it. What was I saying? That's pretty much it. Yeah, we got Comic Talk every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We also got all our other shows. So just follow us on social media and you can keep track of it all. Thank you once again, Maggie. Thank you, Drew, so much for coming on this show. Once again, I am your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been another episode of Comic Talk for the week of April 4th, 2024. Oh, also Saturday is my birthday, so, wish upon a star for me. All right. See you guys later. Everybody say bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.